What is up, Earthnoids and Spacenoids? I am just a simple new type, and in this time we are continuing our journey through Mobile Suit Crossbone Gundam. Last time, Tobaya and Kincaid snuck into the Jupiter sphere and tracked down the location of Crux Dogatie, leader of the Jupiter Empire. They began their attack on the Io moon base. This episode, Crossbone Vanguard will go up against an anti-pirate Mobile Suit team. Tobaya will be captured and the Jovians make their way towards the Earth sphere. So let's get into this. The Elephante begins firing like a madman. It even fires on friendlies. The pilot of the mobile armor says that the Jupiter Empire doesn't need weak people. Old Man Uman and Kincaid focus on the bits. The Elephante grabs Harita's Batala and crushes the mobile suit. No, not Harita. We barely knew ye. They can't get past the unit's eye field. Zabine loses his left leg with the movable beam nose and its eye field. The Elephante doesn't have any blind spots. Everyone is being overwhelmed by the unit, but Tobaya is able to keep up and track their speed. He fires and takes out one bit. Then he charges towards another bit with his axe head on his Pez Pedala. He then begins kicking the bits before rushing into the Elephante, attacking it with his axe head. This does some damage to the unit but leaves Tobaya exposed. The Elephante pilot aims the nose at the Pez Pedala, but Kincaid comes in and slices off the beam weapon. The mobile armor crashes into the land ship that it can't find any data on. There's a lot of Jupiter vehicles in this with no data. Jupiter in many ways is undercooked in this universe. The Mother Vanguard dives headfirst through the winds of Io and head directly towards the base. The bow of the ship literally rams the base. Oh, this is where Lacus learned it. The Mother Vanguard's bow most likely functions like a giant shot lancer. They fire cannons. One of the masts is destroyed and the engines are shot. The helmsman apologizes and said it was the only way they could have won. Tobaya forgets that he has Yonai in his cockpit. The Crossbone Vanguard crew prepare for the enemy to board the ship. While this is going on, Bernadette is sneaking around. She gets in her Elicar and takes off. Kincaid punches an Aerobato, while Zabine proclaims that Cosmo Babylonia will rise again. He says that he has a bad Han Solo about this. Crossbone Vanguard begin their assault on the base, while Bernadette is on her own mission. Kincaid punches through Crux Dogatie's throne room, and they all go out on foot, surrounding the Jupiter leader. Crux is floating in a Bacta tank. Kincaid and the gang unload on Crux, but they learn via the jump scare that this is an android or bio-brain unit. A voice congratulates them. It is the real Crux. He has unloaded his consciousness to a supercomputer and the cloud. On top of that, there are 9 more bio-brain units that more or less will function as the real Crux Dogatie. It's a digital Horcrux. He sets a timer for just over 5 minutes for the base to self-destruct. It was like 5:23 or something. What a weird number to choose. There are thousands of their own men on this base, and he has no qualms blowing them up with the space pirates. The bomb is probably just overloading the generators, so Kincaid heads down to stop it, while the others try to stop it from the bio unit. Vagons attack Kincaid. He calls them idiots for not running away from the explosion. They sig that Dogatti and say they will die for his cause. Also, Crux will execute them for treason if they go against the greater good. He says that a leader doesn't throw people's lives away. Jovian soldiers come to the throne room while Tobaya and the rest are trying to do something to stop the bomb. 30 seconds left. Kincaid isn't going to make it. Someone is leading the Jovians. 3, 2, 1. The bomb doesn't go off. On a surface, one Jovian knows the password to stop the countdown. It happens to be Bernadette. Her real name is Tetaneth, and Crux Dogatie is her father. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the Jupiter sphere, the ship leaves for Earth with a dangerous weapon and a Crux Dogatie bio unit. Crossbone Vanguard has depleted all their resources and put everything into this mission. Many of the Jovians are now leaderless, and everything is now in shambles. Tetaneth has been helpful at earning the trust of the Jovians. They agree to help rebuild the mother. Everyone feels a sense of loss and failure. Hera activates the Manowski drive. The ship is still heavily damaged, but will make do for now. They set a course for Earth. They will chase Dogatti and ensure he doesn't make it to the Earth sphere. And now Captain Burns is summoned by Professor Karas. They find him to be quite skilled, and they want him on a special team. He notes that this team is young. The leader of this team is Giddy Aspis. Even though they ask him to be on the team, it is an order, so he doesn't have a choice anyways. Tetaneth officially introduces herself to the mother. She isn't trying to sabotage them. Their involvement was entirely an accident. She was trying to sneak on board the ship heading to Earth because she genuinely wanted to see the Earth with her own eyes. When she ran into Crossbone Vanguard, she pretended to be an exchange student. She wants Bear to take her to Earth with them. She allows her to stay on board. Bera bears parental responsibility for her. Zabina thinks she would make a great prisoner down the line. Bera asks Tetaneth if she wants to get naked and be vulnerable together. She goes, hell yeah. Ooh, bath scene for all you gooners out there. Bera talks about her family lineage, while Tetaneth says she wants to try to persuade her dad to not start a war. Even though they give her her own quarters, there are guards outside her door. People on board still don't trust her. Tobaya sneaks into her room through the air vents. He was prepared to bust her out and even planted bombs, but it seems he didn't have to go through the trouble. He's doing it all to protect her. Later, Kincaid takes Tobaya out for ship maintenance, where he learns about the Minovsky Drive. It is top secret, and this technology can't get into the hands of the Jovians. Kincaid is worried about morale because he believes that Zabine will try something when morale is low. His instincts are correct. Old man Uman is spying on him when someone knocks him out with a wooden beam. Why does a futuristic spaceship have a piece of wood? Zabine takes Tetaneth hostage and takes control of the bridge. The mutiny begins. Tobaya and Kincaid get back to the ship. Zabine plans on reclaiming the aristocracy of Cosmo Babylonia. He says that Bera is using the name Crossbone Vanguard for her own needs. He plans on surrendering to the Jovians. The Jovians want to take out the Federation, which is what the aristocracy desires. Zabine also says, did you see the Jovians? They died for the greater cause. I would die for an army that would die for me. Look at the loyalty. That is when a ship approaches the Mother Vanguard. He is working with Professor Karas. They want him to return Tetaneth to the Jovian ship, the Gibeah. The battleship, the Gibeah, is seen in SD Gundam G Generations, but there isn't too much info on this ship. It has 4 high megaparticle cannons and 8 twin anti-air guns. The ship rams the Mother Vanguard, and they take evasive maneuvers. The Gibeah seems to grab a hold of the ship, taking it as a prisoner. Kincaid comes in and fights with Zabine. As they are fighting, 3 new mobile suits come in. These are the Corvarze, the Abijo, and the Tortuga. The EMS VS-X1 Corvarze is a hyper-specific mobile suit designed to bring down the Crossbone Gundams. Jupiter focuses on general-purpose mobile suits and has no way of creating a mobile suit that outperforms the Gundam in all areas. But it can create a mobile suit that outperforms the Gundam in one area. This unit works in tandem with 2 other units to work together to create a unit that is stronger than the Gundam. They form the Death Gale team. The Corvarze focuses on offensive attacks. Its main weapon is the Snake Hand, which is a giant metal whip built into the right arm. The edge of the weapon contains the beam cutters, which can be used for mid-range attacks. The Snake Hands also has its own beam shield. The other weapons include a large megaparticle cannon on its head. The EMS VS-X2 Abijo is the support unit of the Death Gale team. Speed and fire suppression is this unit's specialty. Its 2-barrel needle gun is one of the weaker weapons seen during this time, but it is designed not to damage, but rather distract. No pilot takes the risk that the unit is weak and will evade, so it is highly effective. This is the unit's only weapon. The EMS VSX-3 Tortuga serves as the tank for the Death Gale team and focuses on mid-range attacks and support. The spike shield on its back emits a beam shield which can block attacks from Crossbone Vanguard. The only problem is that the pilot must have his back face the enemy, leaving its front weak. It has 6 fast hardening gas emitters, which when breached releases a gas that quickly hardens into a rubber cement-like substance. It holds an enemy in place and finishes it off with its hammer arms. Other weapons include a beam gun. This is piloted by Giddy, Burns, and a third named Rosemary Raspberry. The 3 are referred to as the Death Gale team. Kincaid notes that they are fast. He can't get the upper hand. Giddy says that they have studied their movements, and their mobile suits are designed to defeat Crossbone Gundam. Abijo distracts. Zabine heads back to the Gibeah. He has valuable data about the space pirates. Kincaid is starting to figure out their moves. Tortuga uses his shield and tanks. Another goes in for the attack. Tobaya joins the battle. His axe head is useless. They can't attack the 3 mobile suits, so they focus on directing their attacks on the Gibeah. He knew that Tobaya placed bombs all over the ship earlier for Tetaneth and wants to know how he was going to set them off. He actually just set the vernier thrusters to go haywire. Kincaid has a plan. The 3 mobile suits go in to attack Crossbone Gundam. He dodges Abijo and Corvarze and heads directly towards Tortuga. He tackles the chunky mobile suit into Mother Vanguard. That is when Tobaya activates the sail and verniers. The Tortuga goes up in flames, and the mass of the Mother Vanguard is destroyed once again. The Mother Vanguard is free of the Gibeah's grips. Professor Karas boards the Mother Vanguard. The Tortuga is still alive, and he and the Abijo still want to take out the Gundam, but they are ordered to return to the Gibeah. That is when Barrett informs the pilots that Professor Karis kidnapped Titaneth. Tobaya grabs the two, fleeing on a jetpack. Karis opens Tobaya's hatch and shoots him. Kincaid just sees his pez patella go up in flames. He wakes up chained up as a prisoner. He could feel his gunshot wound. He has been sentenced to death by a Jupiter tribunal and will be executed tomorrow. Titaneth visits her father, Crux Dogatie, or at least one of the biocomputers. She says that she wants to speak to her real father, but this is now his real form. She wants him to stop his invasion of Earth, but she reminds him that everything the Jupiter needs to survive doesn't come from Earth. He has bigger plans with Earth than merely conquering it. Giddy is torturing Zabine. They're trying to break him to make sure that he isn't going to double-cross them. While he is doing that, Burns asks Rosemarie about Giddy. He seems to be Jupiter's golden child. He is a new type who has been through elite training. Tobias's execution is being held in a public Coliseum built on a ship? Seems like a waste of space. It is gladiator rules. Professor Karis wants him to survive so he could become his student once again. He seems to be trying to groom him. Tobias's opponent is X2. Rosemarie is piloting the Gundam. Tobias says, "You just give me a gun and my opponent has an entire mobile suit? What kind of bullshit is this?" Rosemarie begins playing with him. Tobias shoots at the mobile suit's hand, setting off the dummy balloon. He rides on the balloon and it explodes, covering the Gundam's sensor. Like an idiot, Rosemarie gets out of the Gundam and Tobaya jacks it. The Jovians begin firing on the mobile suit. Tobaya grabs Titaneth and they get out of there. The Jupiter fleet chases down the Gundam, but it was a distraction. They are still on board the Jovian ship stealing propellant for the core fighter that they escaped in, but Burns is able to find them. He says that he will allow the kid to escape and he will look the other way, but Titaneth has to stay. She agrees and says that Tobaya will be able to save her again in the future. She gives Tobaya a kiss. Tobaya takes off on the core fighter. They were out in the middle of nowhere, and there should have been no way for anyone to survive. But they find out that Tobaya was not only able to survive, but he made it back to the Mother Vanguard in one piece. Crux wonders if he is a new type. And that will do it for this episode. The Jovians' methods seem to align with the old aristocratic ways of Cosmo Babylonia. The moment Zabine showed up in this manga, I assumed this double cross would come along eventually. The Jovians seem to disregard the individual human's life. But what is Crux' true plan with Earth? Next time, Tobaya makes it back to the Mother. The ship meets up with another Crossbone Vanguard ship, the Eos Nyx, and the Federation gets involved, and Kincaid fights against his old mobile suit, Gundam F91. But that will do it for now, new types. Remember, never trust an aristocratic man with an eye patch. Peace.